Well, hello friends. In this video, I will be discussing regarding entanglement and the fact that why it, in principle, doesn't violate causality. So it will be like a bit crude description, but at the same time, the calculations done will be. I will try to make them rigorous. So the most important point is that it is the Hilbert space formalism. So the point is corresponding to any isolated physical system. So you have a physical system, its description can be described by a Hilbert space. So this physical system doesn't know about this Hilbert space. So this Hilbert space is something that a physicist uses to capture the information content or to capture the very essence of quantumness in this of this physical particle. So similarly, one you have one particle, one Hilbert space. You have another particle, you have some other Hilbert space. And then we have a separate Hilbert space formalism that says that the entire Hilbert space is just the tensor product of the two Hilbert space. So based on this, now this thing is the basic fact that gives rise to the entanglement properties. So these particles are there. Suppose you take a laser, you send it through some sort of a beam splitter, and then you get various different polarizations, and suppose the horizontal and vertical polarizations, they actually, entanglement means that they are in a sense correlated with each other. Performing some change here will cause a immediate change in this in the other system. So this entire thing happens physically and is proved. But what is the meaning in terms of Hilbert spaces is the very fact that two states, you have two physical systems and their description, it might be possible that these two physical systems can be described by a state psi A tensor psi B that belongs to the tensor product space HAB. So this is the tensor product space HAB. At the same time, it might be possible that the description of these two systems can be described by psi AB that belongs to HAB, but not necessarily in this separable manner. So that is the very, so if you cannot separate these two facts, I have also described this in the initial parts of my video, so I will just quickly give that essence that if you can't separate it in this form, that captures the fact that the states of the system is actually correlated with each other. So that is the main point. So given a tensor space for any system, not only qubits, if a state belongs in the joint Hilbert space and is not separable, separable in this definition, that it cannot be written as a state that belongs in Hilbert space A and a state that belongs in Hilbert space B, then it is called to be entangled. So this is one of the entangled state. It is actually a very important entangled state. It is the Bell basis. It is one of the Bell bases out of the 4. And to rigorously quantify entanglement, you can say that, so let me again describe that. So you can say that if you have a state, suppose you have A00 plus B01 plus C10 plus D11, such that ABCD lie on a 3 sphere. So they belong to S3. That means that they are normalization condition. So, and this 0 0 0 1 1 0 are nothing but, by definition, 0 0 is just 0 tensor 0. So these are the 4 bases, because the dimension of this is dimension of this multiplied by dimension of this, and if both are qubit, like in the case of spin half particle, then it will be a 4-dimension vector space. And now if you have this A, B, C, D, and if you can arrange them in a matrix form and check the determinant of the matrix, if the determinant of the matrix is non-zero, that means there exists some correlation and they are entangled. So similarly in this case, you see half 1 over root 2, 1 over root 2, I have arranged in this determinant, and this is the half, this determinant value is half, and so I can directly convince myself that this is actually entangled. But now what does this mean that this is entangled? So this means that suppose you have Alice and Bob. Physically the physical state doesn't know about this Hilbert space formalism. So you have prepared in a very weird way a correlated system, like the Alice and Bob, they may have stayed together in a laboratory, and then in that they send in a particle through a laser through a beam splitter, and they have gotten 2 entangled photons, and then Alice takes one of the photon with her, and Bob keeps one with her, and then Alice goes to suppose moon, and Bob stays on Earth. Now they have access to their own part of physical system. Now you see Alice has access to photon A or spin particle A. Bob has access to spin particle B. So Alice can only perform projective measurements. I have described projective measurements in the initial parts of my videos. So they can only perform these projective measurements only on the part A, and hence this is the available projections possible for Alice. So Alice takes her setup, a meter, and then sends in her particle. So she just measures the 0 state or 1 state of the particle. What this does, this is where entanglement comes into play. The fact is Alice only measures on her basis. So Alice only projects on her basis, but the entire state was described. So the entire state phi, it belongs to Hilbert space AB. And this Hilbert space gets changed. This state is acted upon whenever Alice projects on her own by a identity on Bob's part. So this means that Bob is doing nothing and Alice is projecting. So now what we can see is that given this state, you see, if Alice, the moment Alice projects on the 0 part, 0 tensor identity, 0 on Alice, this on Bob, this 0 will always kill this part, and only part that will remain is this. And hence the entire system, not only Alice, the state of Alice, rather the entire system gets collapsed to this state. So the point is Alice does something on the state A by a projector A, which can be 0 or 1, and the result is that the entire system gets changed. Entire AB system, it has an effect of entire AB system where B is far away. So now this instantaneous change, this instantaneous collapse of the Bob state is what is called the spooky action at a distance. So why is it spooky? Because of the very fact that Alice has done something on her state, and at the same instant Alice knows that if she has got this outcome, that Bob's state must be this. But this doesn't mean any breaking of the causal structure, because Alice, once she gets 0 or 1, unless she conveys that information to Bob, there is no information flow and there is no breaking of the causal structure. So even if Alice, according to her knowledge, she knows that the state is this, let's look at Bob. So initially when the state is correlated, so initially when the state is just the Bell state 001, Bob initial state of the entire system is described by this density matrix, and now you see Bob state will be just tracing out the Alice part. So I will just trace out the part of Alice and then finally get the Bob state, and you see Bob is completely unaware of any kind of correlation. So what does this mean? It means that the moment you form an entangled pair, whether it is Alice or Bob, they are completely unaware. They are completely unaware of the system itself. So the maximally mixed state has no information on its own. Now, after measurement, when Alice performs her measurement but doesn't use the classical channel to convey Bob, then the state will be collapsed into a non-selective measurement formalism. And you can see that with a probability half, when Alice measures the projector P0 on her own part, with a probability half she gets this, with a probability half she gets this. Why is this true? Because of the very fact that there is 1 over root 2 here. Or you can also try to form this definition, that is, if you take the density matrix to be phi, then you can say P0A phi P0A over trace of P0A phi. This is the probability to finally observe the projector P0A, and that will give you half. So but the point is, even after Alice has measured, she knows that the final state of Bob has collapsed, but Bob still have no idea. So let me say, basically what it means is that even though Alice measures on her part, even though Alice alters her system of qubit A, Bob has no idea of what has happened. So overall, no information has been passed from Alice to Bob, because of the very fact of this non-selective measurement that happens. If Alice needs to perform a selective measurement, then she needs to communicate the information of what has happened classically through a classical communication channel to Bob. But then that will automatically mean that, as classically nothing can travel faster than speed of light, it is automatically within causal limits. And if Alice doesn't convey any information, then there is a non-selective measurement and Bob has no idea of what has happened to his system. So that's what I wanted to explain regarding entanglement, and the fact that on an average entanglement doesn't lead to any information exchange. Even after this entanglement, this indirect knowing of Alice leads to various beautiful things. We have non-local games where we can perform in such a way we can break the bounds of classical limits of probabilities. We have quantum teleportation, quantum cryptography, we have super dense coding. This all comes because of the fact that finally the state actually collapses. But until we can measure this collapse, we cannot say that any causal structure has broken. So on an average, there is no causal problem, but actually the states collapse. So this is the fun fact of entanglement actually, and this is nowadays used to a great extent in quantum computers also. So that's all for this video. In the next video I will be starting my discussion on defining distances between various quantum states in terms of fidelity and trace distance or Kolmogorov distance. So that's all for this video.